The Hidden Hindu, Book 2 of the trilogy by Akshat Gupta, Chapter 5, The Scion of Serpents, Part 2. LSD remained mum. Primul sighed. The only way to get her to open up would be to share my own story, Primul thought, and so he continued. He looked at LSD and admitted, "You're right about the scar. It is not a coincidence. Vine snakes found in the Indian subcontinent do have keyhole-shaped pupils. This mark does have a reason, though. I had an eyeball with a keyhole-shaped pupil grouted on my palm when I was born. This is weird. You came out of the room with closed fists, and when you uncurled your hand, people found you holding an eyeball?" LSD grimaced in surprise and confusion. "Firstly, I wasn't born surrounded by doctors and nurses the way you're assuming. I was born with open fists only in front of my father, while Nagendra waited outside the room to confirm that I indeed had the same eyeball on my palm. Every child born in our family is born with open fists and an iris with the keyhole-shaped pupil embedded within the palm. Exactly the way eyes exist inside the eye socket. However, these eyeballs are connected to our veins and draw our blood to grow rapidly till they pop out of our hand. But these are not made up of tissues and cells, so don't imagine them moving inside my palm and seeing things round. Within days, the eyeball matures and falls out, leaving behind a scar that heals over time and finally vanishes as the dead skin shreds over the years," Primul explained. "So you shed skin too, and what happens to that eyeball?" asked LSD suspiciously. With a smile, Primul replied, "Yes, I shed skin too, but not like snakes, as you probably are imagining. And also the eyeball naturally disintegrates into the sand particles after exactly 9 days of popping out of the palm." "Then why is it there? What purpose does it serve?" was the next question from LSD. "I don't know," answered Primula, as if trying to close the topic. "What, so this has been happening for generations and no one has figured it out?" LSD frowned in disappointment while Primula smirked at her. She saw Primula's expression and thought that he was bluffing. "You're just making this up, right? This is simply just a story that you cooked up right now when I said that the scar in your palm looked like an eye." She glared at him. "No, I'm not cooking anything up." Primul's words were genuine, but LSD had made up her mind already on her disbelief that Primul was lying. "It's pretty incredible. I do not believe you." Primul stood there, wondering where to begin, while LSD narrowed her eyes on his face. "Maybe this will help. You see, you haven't noticed one thing yet, LSD. I have no palm lines." Stunned, LSD scrutinized both his palms and realized that he really did not have any lines, not even on the hand without the scar. "I don't have any palm lines because I don't have a destiny. I was not making it up. I really don't know what purpose the eyeball serves and why it destroys itself after 9 days, but I want you to know that I'm telling the truth and that you can trust me." LSD still looked unconvinced and couldn't meet his eyes. "So, why are you here?" asked LSD. "Because I've been ordered to," replied Primul with a vague understanding of what she meant to learn about him. She reframed her question. "What has he promised you for all of this?" "Nothing." He averted his gaze. LSD did not believe him and dug deeper with a gentler tone. "Then why are you serving him, Primul?" "I am the outcome of an amalgamation of a boon and a curse. What I mean will require some explanation. Have you ever heard of Kadru?" LSD wore a blank expression. "Sir Kashyap, Akshur, Ashgadvatkar." Primul listed a few other names from the tale to see if any of those rang a bell. "Well, if I'm reading your face right, that's definitely a no." He understood that to explain his connection with Nagrendra, he would have to take her to the very beginning. "My full name is Primul Nair, and I am a Nagavanshi, like Chandranvanshis, our descendants from the moon, lunar dynasty. Survanshi of the sun and Agvanashi of Angi. Navagashi belongs to one of the many principal houses of the warrior ruling class who descended from snakes. I am sorry that you don't like snakes, but I'm originally a snake inside this human body. LSD. Navavanshis are known to be a snake-worshipping tribe of ancient India. The primary deity of the Nairs is goddess Bhagavati, who is the patron goddess of war and fertility. The serpent is worshipped by Nair families as a guardian of the clan because we are believed to be a part of Kadru's family tree, and all snakes in the world are considered to be her children. All of this started back in Satya Yuga when a seer named Kashyap married one of the granddaughters of Lord Brahma named Kadru. For years, Kadru lived as the seer's wife and tended to all his comforts. Happy with her devotion towards her duties, one day Kashyap blessed her with a boon of her choice. Kadru asked for 1,000 serpent children who would be courageous. Kashyap granted the wish, and Kadru became pregnant. After a long time, Kadru gave birth to 1,000 eggs. The eggs were carefully incubated in jars with hot water, which kept them warm. After 500 years, Kadru's eggs hatched, and her sons came to life. The descendants of these sons are called Nagvanshis. Now you must be wondering how Nagrendra fits into this picture. Primal waited for LSD's reaction. She just gave a slight nod. Nagrendra owns my family's ancestry. My entire lineage owes its loyalty to Nagrendra. Our loyalty towards him is the price we pay for our vision, and our service to him is in exchange for a complete human body to be able to live on land as humans do. Primo looked at LSD, who still seemed confused, so he went into the details. I am the proof of an old and famous tale of Dwarpara Yuga, from Lord Krishna's childhood. I come from the lineage of Aghasur in Satya Yuga. Ashgar, a demon, came across a seer named Ashtavakra, whose body was malformed in 8 places, because of which he appeared extremely ugly and walked in a zigzag pattern. Aghasur made the mistake of laughing at the handicapped seer and ridiculed him for his looks and gait. Insulted Ashtavakra cursed Aghasur to turn into one of the ugliest serpents, as they can only crawl in a zigzag pattern. Frightened by the curse, Aghasur fell at the seer's feet and begged for forgiveness. Ashtavakra's wrath subsided, but he couldn't revoke his curse, so he told Aghasur that at the end of Dwapara Yuga, Lord Vishnu's incarnation would liberate him of this bane by killing his serpent body and ridding him of all his sins. Aghasur waited for thousands of years as a serpent for the reincarnation of Vishnu, and in the meantime became one of the King Kansa's trusted generals. Kansa, who wanted to kill Krishna, was the brother of Krishna's mother, Devaki. He made many attempts on Krishna's life, beginning at Krishna's birth, but failed. In those attempts, 2 of Aghasur's siblings, Patana and Baksur, lost their lives at the hands of the child. Kansa then ordered Aghasur to kill his nephew, who was also the reason of Patana and Bakshur's death. Unaware of the fact that the boy he was sent to kill was the very incarnation of Vishnu, he took the form of an 8-mile-long serpent, camouflaging his open mouth with a mountain to swallow Krishna when he would step in. Instead of Krishna, all his cowherd friends entered Agar's mouth, mistaking it for a cavern. To save them, Krishna entered the serpent's mouth too, and then enlarged the size of his own body as a counterattack. The demon too extended his size until he couldn't breathe anymore. Suppressed by Krishna's strength, the demon's life force could not pass through any outlet, and therefore it finally burst out through Aghasur's eye sockets. His keyhole-shaped eye rolled about frantically, then popped out. Thus, the demon serpent met his end through Krishna, and Ashtavakra's curse was lifted. But then he had set out to kill Krishna. He had left his pregnant serpentine wife, Sarputi, in Patal City. After Ashkar's death, his wife gave birth to a son named Lopaksh, who was half serpent, half human, because Asher's eyes had popped out before the son's birth. Lopaksh was born blind with plain skin in place of his eye sockets. Lopaksh, the boy who was neither a snake nor a human, was cast out by the city of Patel. Sarputi left Patel with her infant in search of someone who had the ability to cure her blind child. Years passed as Lopaksh grew old and Sarputi grew older, hiding and wandering on the land with her sightless half-man, half-snake son, looking for a remedy till she finally met a man with immense supernatural powers who could grant any boon and treat any illness by mere chanting. The man was sitting near a lake beside the black lion, flaunting a shiny and rich black mane. The lion sat up majestically, enough to scare away the best of beasts, but when the man caressed the back of the lion, it purred softly like a cat being stroked by its master. The man called it Kalo Bathan, as it was really his pet. LSD interrupted in realization. You are the successor of Lopk. I know about him. The man Sarputi met was Nagrendra himself, who was seeking the stolen rich Sanjivani created by the demigod Dhanvantari. By the time Sarputi met him, her desperation was so intense that she was ready to pay any price. Nagrendra said that he could give the boy both the vision and the complete body of a human, after which he would never have to return to his serpent form and could live on land, but in return Sarputi would give him an oath which would have to be honored by all her successors. If anyone ever tried to break this oath, then the complete lineage would be doomed. For the well-being of her son, the desperate serpentine mother gave consent without even asking what the oath was. Nagrendra used his powers, and the blind Lopaksh saw his mother for the first time at the ripe age of 32. Indebted to Nagrendra, Lopaksh touched his feet and thanked him for the favor. Suddenly, LSD became conscious of her rambling and stopped. How did you know all this? Premal was amused. Well, actually, Nagrendra used to tell me this as a bedtime story. LSD replied and then fell silent again. It was not a favor, but a barter. Premal continued. Nagrendra reminded Sarputi of her promise and told Lopaksh that now his mother would take the oath and all her successors, including him, would keep it. What was the oath? Asked LSD curiously, and Premal disappointedly replied, The oath is what connects me to Nagrendra till date. Sarputi came forward and said, Oh, seer, I'm ready to take the oath and abide by it, so will my son Lopaksh and his successors after that. Tell me what we must do in return the favor. Lopaksh stood by his mother and watched silently. And Nagrendra said, First of all, Sarputi, you will never be able to return this favor because I will never let you. You worship the patron goddess of war and fertility, goddess Bhagavati. From now onwards, you will worship her only for war, as Lopaksh and every adult after him will have only one child, after which they will lose their fertility forever. Every child will serve me selflessly, without any choice till death, and only I shall hold the authority to free them from this oath. If any one of your successors even thinks of breaching this vow, they shall see their dreams that their predecessors have been cast out from heaven, and the living have returned to their original form and of half-serpents with no vision. As a warning, in their dreams they will be forced to go back to the pits of the earth or die without an heir, thus destroying the lineage and making all their past sacrifices futile. All of this shall become their reality if the one warned by their dreams still chooses to betray me. Your vision and your human body are the rewards you get for serving me, which may be retracted whenever you cease to serve. Thus, every time your successor takes over the oath, it relieves the ancestors forever, transforming them into a blind old snake for the remainder of their lives. How can you be certain that the oath is binding and that it's not just for an anecdote passed down through the generations? Because I have seen a man losing his eyesight and turning into a snake before I cremated him. It was my father, Primo retorted. We are transferred into snakes when he relieves us, passing the same oath to the next in our clan. I have seen my father returning into a blind snake when I undertook the oath. That was the fate of all my ancestors, and it will be mine as well as of our child. We come with open fists, no palm lines, no destiny. We leave the world without hands, in the very form that we evade all our lives. Now you know why we don't have lines on our palms, because we have not been created by gods, and we never deserved hands. And the dream? What about the dream? Did you see it too? LSD curiosity was piqued. No, I've seen enough to not think about betraying my lord in my wildest dreams. Primo shook his head angrily. Now, what's your story? He finally asked LSD. Before he could question her further, LSD raised a finger, signaling him to be quiet as she heard footsteps approaching their hotel room. They straightened in alarm and retrieved their N92 FS Beretta handguns. Nagunda was back. He entered to find them on guard and ordered them, pack your bags, we are leaving now. He had returned sooner than they estimated, and Primo's question to LSD remained unanswered. They also wondered why they were leaving so early, because the next crescent moon was still days away, but neither had the audacity to raise the query. They knew that they would get their answers when the time was right. Soon their bags were packed, and LSD was about to swing hers on her back when Nagunda approached her, handing her a pregnancy test kit in front of Primo. It was obvious that what Nagunda wanted to know, so she took it and went to the washroom. Primo silently observed the orders being followed. Nagunda gestured to Primo to carry LSD's bag too and walk out with him. In a few minutes, LSD joined them and took her bag back from Primo, looked at Nagunda, and nonchalantly uttered, I am pregnant. In no time, they were marching towards their next destination in search of the second word.